Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
You know you need fiber for a healthy gut, but do you actually know how to get it? Quaker's been serving up fiber since 1877, with over 100 great-tasting, good source of fiber options to choose from. Whether you like old-fashioned oats, instant oatmeal, granola, or oatmeal squares, Quaker makes it delicious. So good. Get your fiber with Quaker. Shop Quaker's good source of fiber products at a store near you.
Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney+.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
Gary the Snake.
And your last name?
The Snake.
Dream Team. New habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home. Zootopia 2, now available on Disney+, rated PG. And right now you can get Disney Plus and Hulu for just $4.99 a month for 3 months with a special limited time offer. Ends March 24th. After 3 months, plan auto renews at $12.99 a month. Terms apply.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Wynn and welcome to a very special Haway the podcast as Sunderland win the 159th derby between the two sides in dramatic fashion by 2-1, which always seems to be the way as we win these games. It's either 2-1 or 3-0, isn't it? One of the two. But it does mean that we've done the double over them this season, which then makes it 3 in the last 4 years that we've shared the same league that we've done that. It also means we haven't lost in the league to that lot since 2011 still, and we haven't lost at their place since 2010. And today, we even gifted them the first goal to give them a bit of hope before leaving it late to take all 3 points. And as you can probably tell, I'm absolutely buzzing. I tried to calm down before this, but I've got 2 gentlemen here to try and give their reaction to another win over that lot up the road. And first up, we have a man who's desperate to get this done and desperate to get back out to the pub. We have Andrew Smithson.
Mate, that was a brilliant introduction. That was professional and you got all the facts out, because I think I would have just had some sort of like word diarrhea of get in, well done Sunderland, brilliant, how are the lads? Aye, good times, good afternoon.
Well, I'm properly shaky. I mean, the adrenaline's genuinely pumping. I mean, those last few minutes, and actually, to be fair, I thought there was going to be more injury time, but we might get into that. I was actually relieved there was only 7 minutes. But I've also got someone with us who you might recognise from the On This Week podcasts. We've got Kelvin Beattie. Hello, Kelvin.
Yeah! Come on, lads! Yes! Get it up, you bloody zebras! Yes!
Normally, Kelvin, will have a lovely song from you or something like that. A nice soothing song. But no. Today, it needs something like that. I mean, Kelvin, unbelievable. We've done it again. But we've all seen our fair share of them. But this one was, I don't know, it kind of, I didn't have a good feeling before the game, Kelvin, and to come out with a win it just feels even sweeter, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. When I didn't have a strong feeling for a win, but I thought that we were capable of going there and giving them a very, very awkward game. When I saw the team, I thought that's got to be the tactics. We're just gonna give them a really awkward game like we gave Leeds the other night, and it's not going to be a great game to watch. And if we get a rub of the green and a ref that's got both eyes open, we'll sneak a draw. That is what I thought going into the game.
You know what it is, Andrew? We've been talking about our form going into it in the Brighton game and people being disappointed. This Sunderland side under Regis Lebris, and I remember us doing it even in the Championship in that first season he was here, and Then you go into the playoffs and that run, and then the times when you think this season, oh, we're not going to get anything. How he keeps doing it, where it comes to these big games, and he either has a plan or he gets the players up for it, or both. But it's just unbelievable. We turn up in these games, don't we?
We do, and I mean, imagine how good we would have been if we were at full strength. I mean, that was a patched up side that's gone and done that. And if you were to just ignore for a second who the opposition was and the fact that there was like local bragging rights at stake, that was just a superb away performance in the Premier League. You're right. Yeah, okay, a mistake at the start of the game. But other than that, we were just so composed. We were balanced. Even when you consider the mistake, we didn't lose our heads. We kept doing the same types of things. There's a lot of emotion flying around, and I'm chuffed to bits, obviously. But just purely as a Premier League win, that was brilliant, and it says to me that we are not about to let this season run down. We're hopefully going to give it a real big push in the last few weeks now.
Never mind Premier League win and all that, Andrew. I mean, this is more than a Premier League win. This is more than 3 points. I mean, Kelvin, I mean, we'll go into the details and stuff, Kelvin. We'll go into the bits and pieces of the game, but I don't know about you, Kelvin, but just after, in the final stages and when the final whistle went, all I'm feeling is just a sense of pride. I mean, you look at the scenes before the game, how Newcastle tried to ramp it up to be this, this cauldron of hate and all this sort of stuff. And you could see the fans that, getting on, O'Nien was taking throw-ins, they were getting on his back. But Kelvin, the lads went into they went to their place, stood up to everything, weathered the blows, and they came out with 3 points.
Well, that is what they did. They've gone into in effect, the Lions' den, to steal a cliche. They've gone in not such good form and really pulled a fighting performance out. You couldn't really look at any one player that played and say that they hadn't performed in terms of energy, effort, passion. There was everything from all of them. I tell you, we've won that game. We've won that game, and our best player, Xhaka, hasn't had to play at his best for us to win that game, for me. And that says a lot about the other players on the pitch. It was fantastic. Second half performance, fantastic. First half performance, it was a bad error. Newcastle were on top, but what they didn't do was stretch away from us when they were on top, and we really, really dug in that first half. Just so, as you say, so proud of the fight and the passion and the performance from all them lads, from all of them, including the youngest player on the park. Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think he absolutely loved it. But Andrew, we're talking about the team, and he only made one change, and I think that was, of course, forced from the Brighton game when Ballard came out and O'Nien came in. And you look at the players out, Ronaldo, Michele and Lefebvre returned on the bench. Well, clearly they weren't fit, and they were thrown on basically because I think they've got 3 weeks rest afterwards. There was basically a hope and chance that they could maybe make an impact, and we'll come on to that. But you talk about the walking wounded, and it would have been easy for us to go into there and go, oh, well, actually, we've got a patched up team and all that sort of stuff. But I tell you what, looking at what Regis Lebris did with a plan, and he took those players and he went in there and he gave them belief, didn't he?
He did. It was awesome. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mukiele and all that lot were never, ever in contention to start. And he's just strung us all along. And on the training ground, he's worked with them, got them prepared for a plan. Everybody knew on Wednesday what the starting 11 was going to be. But yeah, it was good. And we could have very easily lost our heads. Given Newcastle's struggles after playing in midweek games, given the fact that they start games very fast and then tire, the last thing we wanted we will have wanted to do was give them a foothold and an early goal. We did that, and yeah, okay, we wouldn't have wanted to do it, but just the response was brilliant, and there was lads in that team out of position, lads in that team who aren't 100% sharp themselves, but they were phenomenal. You could tell by the fact it took ages for Labris to bring anybody on from the bench that the options there weren't 100% fit, shall we say. He had to hang on as long as possible, but those who were on the pitch from the start just worked their socks off, and then those that came on, they did their stint as well. It was perfect. When, though, are we going to tackle this issue about early leavers? Because I seem to think there was a few there that this type of behaviour needs to be called out, lads. It's not good enough.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Andrew. Absolutely disgraceful, these clubs who have got early leavers. I mean, you know what I mean? But Kelvin, just going into the start of the game, because I actually thought we were pressuring them quite high, but you talk about on 5 minutes, Elborg seemed to be too casual on the ball, nearly getting closed down. And then after around 10 minutes, of course, the goal came with the goal kick, which was all a bit bizarre because Elborg went over to speak to O'Nien and then was really casual passing him the ball. Then O'Nien was a little bit casual with his first touch and then slipped. And then, scuffed his left foot clearance, which I think was trying to be a pass out to that right-hand side, but he got it all wrong. But it's just bizarre, isn't it? Because at that point, you were just thinking in a game like that, where you aim to ride out the first 20 minutes, you don't take any risks. And that seemed to be a big risk.
It was the best possible start for Newcastle. It must have been manna from heaven for their managerial team sitting looking at us playing short passes and playing out from the back, especially with their front three boys. So, they're a nippy front three. I wouldn't have. I cannot believe that was actually a plan. It backfired. I think, in fairness to O'Nien, his standing foot did go as he was about to play the ball, but it was still a hell of a risk. I think as well, just a little observation. I haven't seen Elborg play a couple of times, and now he just needs to work on getting rid of that ball a little bit quicker when he's got it. He's got a little tendency to take, 2 touches where 1 would do and 3 touches where 2 would do.
I agree that it could be tightened up, but this is a deliberate tactic. O'Nien gave the ball away, and to be fair to what's his chops, his name's completely gone.
Voltemada.
Voltemada's won it, and then Gordon has finished it tidily. But we did it several times afterwards. We've done it all season, that ball out to a player with his back to the opposition, usually Xhaka, and then we've pinged it out wide. We did it continually again after the goal. It's a deliberate tactic. The only difference is today, O'Nien scuffed it because we still did it loads afterwards, and we're almost begging teams to come onto us so we can then play into the gaps behind. It's worked in the end, but there is always that slight disadvantage that when it goes wrong, it goes horribly wrong and we get caught out.
Yeah, but Kelvin, just going back to your point, were you talking about not only on goal kicks, just when the ball was at his feet? Because, were you putting that down to nerves, or were you putting that down to just being too casual?
Listen, I'm not going to dish the lad. He's early into his career with us, and I've seen enough to think that he's definitely got something. But just as I say that what I have noticed and what other people have noticed is a little tendency just to take an extra touch on the ball when he's got it, either from by kicks, from balls played back to him. He's come close a couple of times in other games to just being caught with the ball at his feet. In fact, he got caught just minutes before the goal, didn't he? Was it Gordon caught him a minute or two, a couple of minutes before the goal.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
He almost got caught. So it's just a little observation that
Kelvin.
I'd like to see him getting rid of it a bit quicker.
Kelvin, I agree. I agree because it's nervy watching. But we had these conversations with Patterson, and we've had them with Roofs as well. I think a large portion of it is down to team instructions, and almost it's a risk that we. That Briss wants us to take because he thinks that it'll do more good than harm. It's really nervous to watch, and I'd rather we didn't do it like that. But for three keepers to continually be like that, you have to assume that it's by design.
Lebris needs to realise that the age I am, my old ticker cannot stand that kind of. If somebody could let him know that Haway man, Reggie, if that's to instruction.
But you know what it is, gents? If it gives that lot a bit of hope and it keeps ending up like that, I'm all for it, I have to admit. But Andrew, just on that goal, because actually, if you look at it, that first touch, I think that 09 did, I think that's all adrenaline, because it's early in the game. And it's not a calm touch. I think that's all adrenaline, that first touch he does. And then if you look before he tries to clear it with his left foot, his foot gives way underneath him a little bit. He has a little slip. And I think he's just so nervous in this early part of the game, and he's so up for it, that this mistake is all about adrenaline. But then it comes back to, let's say we do that. Let's say first 10 minutes, get the ball up, get it away, play safe, play percentages. And then once we're bed into the game and the adrenaline calms down a bit, then do that.
Possibly, yes. And that's how I would play it. But again, just the way football is now, I think it's all about possession and trying to keep hold of the ball and trying to be clever. Because if that had worked out and the pass hadn't been mishit, you'd probably be saying, oh, look at the balls on Sunderland there, doing that from the start. I do agree, though, that in that moment, and because it was maybe 09, who is Mr. Sunderland and who hasn't played much Premier League football, to give him his dues, I think, there will have been an element of nerves there, and that's maybe made that slip happen. But hey, listen, had we lost 1-0, 09 knows fine well he'd be getting dog's abuse now. Instead, you've got to say fair play to him because he recovered and played well in the second half. I think I remember one particularly good defensive header, and the team in general recovered from it straight away. So it's a talking point, and it's something that going forward we do need to be aware of. But today, like you say, it's given them a bit of false hope. So if anything, it's just added. It's added to the fun.
I think you're right, Andrew. I think as well, in sort of thinking about Luke O'Nien, what a strong character he is, isn't he? Mentally strong to make that error in probably he will know that is probably one of our if not our biggest game, one of our biggest games of the season. He makes that error, but what a fantastic recovery he makes. I had him down for 3 fairly crucial interventions after that, and he used the ball quite well after that and settled himself. Really strong character mentally, I think, Luke O'Nien. But typical of the team on the day, I think.
Well, I was going to say, Kelvin, because look, at that point, making a mistake like that after 10 minutes, and Newcastle, the crowd were up for it, the players were up for it, you had this feeling where you thought, right, at this point, this could go really bad. Newcastle could really get on top. Newcastle could pin us in. If they get another goal, where's this going to go? And a lot of teams would cave under that situation. But, for the next 15 minutes, it's really cagey. And actually, the next chance of the game is actually Talby getting the ball on the edge of their box and curling it, which almost goes into the top corner. But you've got the mental strength to go from a position where you're almost down and out, and everybody in that stadium is against you. The Sunderland fans are being hard to hear at the top because The Newcastle fans think they've got this, they've got us exactly where they want us. And the mental strength that's needed from those Sunderland players to get out of that situation and then have the next chance of the game. I mean, you've got to tip your hat to them that they weathered that storm, haven't you?
Brilliant, brilliant. The non-verbals after the goal was scored. I was caught by, there were 3 or 4 players were caught on camera up close, you know, and I thought, that's what we want to see. There was purpose. There was, let's get on with this, lads. There's, you know, I wasn't shouting at each other or anything like that. It was pick the ball up, get it back on the centre spot, and let's get on with this game. It was really, really good recovery from a bad start. A very, very good recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Andrew, just on that the rest of that first half, because of course, look, we'll get into the second half. Kelvin's already mentioned the second half performance, but you know, you look at the possession stats. I think the possession stats towards the end of the first half was something like 67% Newcastle, and you looked at the times that they had been in our box and things like that. But I still think in that situation, and people might have been slightly disappointed by the first half performance, but obviously it's kind of weathered a bit by the mistake. But I thought it was quite a good, solid, defensively good performance in that first half.
Oh yeah, mistake aside, had that been 0-0 at half time, I think most Sunderland fans would have said, yeah, that's a decent enough platform. There was a couple of times in open play where I felt the front 3 were isolated, or they were a bit stretched. You know, Brobbey was a long way away from Rigg, long way away from Talby. But that was partially because we were trying to be so tight at the back. Other than that, I thought the first half was pretty much perfect for what we were trying to do. There were a few bits of set pieces and what have you where we did put men forward. There was after the Talby chance, there was one where Rigg had a shot charged down and then we never got to see a replay of it, but that seemed decent.
Yeah.
And in defence, we were fairly solid. I know they hit the post. I had my heart in my mouth at that point, but other than that, they weren't battering us. I don't think.
No, that's the only chance I've got listed for Newcastle, that they hit the post.
They hit the post.
Otherwise, I've got a half chance where Rigg's shot was blocked. I've got half chance, I think, where Rigg and Talby created a chance later on, but we held them at arm's length. I thought, even though they had all the pressure, Kelvin.
Yeah, I thought as well in that first half. I was disappointed when Botman went off.
Yeah,
I thought Brobbey had him on toast, me. Yeah. Every time he was one-on-one with him, he was just moving him all over the park. I thought he had him, and I thought something might come from Brobbey, being marked by Botman. I thought he's got him there. If we can keep playing to Brobbey, something will come. He never stopped battling in that first half. I know I agree with Andrew, we're a little bit disconnected at times, the midfield and the forward line, but he never stopped. And I tell you what I like about him. He chooses the causes, the balls that he chases. And I think he does it really, really well. He's not inclined to go and chase a muckle lost cause, but he'll chase a ball. He as well, you know, and we say this every week when we watch Brobbey play. So today's been no different to any other game when he's played for us. There's a disproportionate amount of fouls given against him in this grabbing and pulling and stuff like that. There was one that was given for Botman. It was given to Botman, and I looked at the replay and I thought, what is the referee looking at there? You know, it just, I feel hard sorry for him sometimes, me. I wish he would stop. If he would stop grabbing the shirt, he'd probably start getting these fouls, but they're all up to it, aren't they? Brilliant first half, given that we started badly. We went off at half time and I thought, you know what, we're still in this game.
Yep, absolutely. And I've got a hunch that we're going to mention Brian Brobbey again by the end of this. But before we do that and get into that second half turnaround, I think we'll stop for a quick break. So we'll be back very soon.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
Experience a membership that backs what you're building with American Express Business Platinum. Enjoy complimentary access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection and a welcome offer of 200,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
And welcome back to Haway the podcast. We're just about to get to the business end because that second half kicked off, Andrew. And I tell you what, I mean, I'm talking about the mental strength it took for us to see out that first half and really keep them at arm's length. But I tell you what, to have a talking to and to get yourselves back right and to get yourselves focused again during half time and to come out like we did, because we just came out. Newcastle didn't really know what hit them in that second half. We just went straight at them, straight down their end and pinned them in.
We did. We were at their throats right from the start of the second half. And yeah, you have to assume words were said in the dressing room. I doubt there was any teacups being thrown around because we were good enough in the first half, as we've already said, and Lebris is a calm fella. But yeah, it looked as if we'd said, right, now's the time for us to push it. We had a couple of half chances beforehand. The equaliser technically has come from a set piece. That's been another concern of late, that we haven't used them to the best of our ability, but we'd created a chance. We'd won ourselves a corner, and eventually it was a corner, I think, if I remember rightly. There was scrapping in the box, and Talby's forced it in, and yeah, from that point onwards, you just saw the nerves in the stands and in the Newcastle players. There were times when they were just hacking it clear, and it was coming into our half, and there wasn't a black and white shirt to be seen. It was almost like they were a lower league team who were thinking, "Oh, we're just going to have to park the bus." So yeah, we timed it right. We talk about moments in games and periods in games where a team will be on top. We did it, and we made it count when it mattered.
Yeah. Well, I actually thought the momentum had been lost when I think it was Shah went down with a concussion, and then the referee had to do some talking to the coaching staff and the captains because of an alleged racist incident, I think, in the stands aimed at Geertruida. But we'll see what happens with that in the days to come, Kelvin. But as Andrew said, with a goal, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I mean, this is off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it was only our third from a corner this season. But when Xhaka crosses it like that right on top of a goalkeeper in that 6-yard box, brilliant corner, absolutely. Ramsdale didn't have a clue what to do with it, then flapped it out. And Hume knocked it back in. Diarra kind of tried to chest it in, and I thought, oh no, has he handballed it? I thought that might go to VAR. But then they cleared it, and Talby then finished off. But when Xhaka knocks a ball in like that, it's bound to cause problems. And Talby deserved that as well, because I thought every time he got the ball, he was positive today.
Do you know what? I wonder whether somebody's been talking to him, because I felt that in his last game that he was having a pop, having a go, and going down the outside. occasionally of his fullback. I thought he played very well today, Talby, and he's got that in his locker, hasn't he? This he's sharp around the box. He's got this sort of dynamic movement over 2 or 3 yards, and I thought he was onto that ball really well. I'll tell you where I felt Newcastle started losing it a bit. If you think of all the throw-ins that we had, and we hardly got ahead to any of those throw-ins into the box, but then think about how often we caught up with we got the second ball from those throw-ins, and I thought, well, Newcastle are usually better at that, I don't know. I think you might be right. The pressure, I don't know what it was. I just felt like we're either doing, it's probably a combination of us doing it well and them being slightly off the pace in terms of that second ball out of the box, because they've got the pace to destroy you if they win a second ball like that, and we're all pushed up into their half of the field. But it hardly happened. They hardly got a sniff. We were very, very good at that. And the goal, brilliant. We looked like we wanted to score the next goal when the second half kicked off. I was really chuffed at how we came out for that second half. Never let the game, never let Newcastle get into the game, pass it around, anything like that. We just went at them, and that was exactly, if they got off to a great start in the first half, we got off to a great start in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And but you look though, I mean, Andrew, again, the turnaround in the game, you look, maybe after 10 minutes, you thought, God, where's this going today? Then you look around 65 minutes, Newcastle are absolutely rattled, making a triple substitution. And you looked at the stats at that point, we'd had 5 shots in that second half and Newcastle had none. We were completely on top. And like you said, in that period, which hasn't happened recently, you have to admit, we haven't taken advantage and we haven't gotten something out of periods like that. But in this, we got back into the game, got back into level terms. But then, then 5 minutes later, this is the thing with games like this. Then the disallowed goal, because you thought, oh no, we've gone through all of that work. And at first I didn't see anything wrong with it. I thought, what's going on? I just kind of slumped, head in hands, and thought, we've gone through all of that and we've gone down. But you get the rub of the green with things like that. And of course they were in an offside position. But it just goes to show in a game like that where we swing the momentum so much. But at that point, you just thought this could go anywhere.
Yeah, there was a little bit of back and forth, and you perhaps expect that in a derby. You perhaps expect it between two teams who are in that middle pack in the Premier League. The VAR business, I mean, if you've got VAR on your mag bingo card, well done, because they're going to be hanging the hat on that. They're going to be complaining that the cartel or all these secretive forces have done the dirty on them. But it was a pretty open and shut case. He was offside for me. I don't see any debate in that. In terms of general momentum and rhythm of the game, it followed similar patterns, I felt, to the previous 2-1s under Peter Reid, in that Newcastle got the lead and then we were able to come back. I mean, at 1-1, I was saying, blow the whistle, I'll take a point, that'll be good, that'll be good enough for me. But perhaps if you're watching it as a neutral, I think you would say, no, Sunderland are in the ascendancy here. And not for the first time, this has been an accusation thrown at the Mags for years now. I'm sorry, but they shut the bed. They did. They did. They should have seen that as a game at home against a team who are struggling for injuries. They've just been knocked out of the cup in embarrassing fashion. They've just lost a game at home. There's 1 or 2 fans are starting to lose their patience. 1 or 2 questions being asked. If I was looking at it from their point of view, I'd be sorely disappointed because it keeps happening to them in these games. Kelvin made an excellent point about how we were winning second balls from long throw-ins and that. We did seem stronger and sharper and up for those moments. There were very few flash points, but when there were, we looked calm and controlled, whereas Joe Linton looked like he was going to cry. They looked again as if their head wasn't right for it, whereas we just, like we did in the playoffs, like we did in so many moments, we just had it. And also, as well, Chris, you're right, you mentioned the stats there. There have been a couple of people scratching their head and saying, do Sunderland need to start creating more? Could we be more of an attacking threat? Well, I think we answered those concerns there because we were a threat. Not just in the goals, in other opportunities. Sadiqi's had one. There's a few other moments that I can't quite come to mind now. But yeah, there was definitely opportunities where we broke well and used the ball well.
Yeah, I mean, Kelvin, you've seen momentum in these, with between the two sides where either side have gone on a run of games where they're unbeaten or whatever. But listening to Andrew there, I mean, as the game went on, you could almost see us getting a bit stronger, and you could see Newcastle shrinking a little bit or almost panicking a little bit with the nerves. But there is something in this run, isn't there, where even though a lot of those players might have had nothing to do with the fact Newcastle haven't beaten us for that long, they can feel the pressure from the fans because the fans want it so much. And it does have an impact, doesn't it? Because you could see it in those later stages. They got more worried about it and we got stronger.
Yeah. I've been in that stadium when their packed house starts to turn. And I would say to you, a bit like our house, it's not a comfortable place to play in when the house starts to turn on you there. And you can feel it. You can feel it coming up and out from them. I've stood amongst them because we've talked before about where I used to get me tickets from for the derby. It was easier to get one for the Newcastle stands than it was to. So I've stood in amongst them and felt that turning. And there's been a perverse kind of enjoyment in being amongst that whilst the fans are starting to lose it a bit. At the team's performance, but in fairness, they weren't wrong. The fans, we wrested that game away from them. I thought, I did think the longer the half went on, I did and said to the guys I was watching the game with, we're going to win this. I could really feel if they were feeling like, if the Newcastle fans were feeling like, what the bloody hell's happening here? I wasn't the only one in the room that was thinking, Christ, if we put the foot down here, we could win this game. It was that kind of game, I think. It's a hell of a stadium when it's full and when it's going for you. And it's an old cliche. A full stadium like that going for you and rooting for you is brilliant. But I tell you, when they're not,
yeah,
you've got to be really, really mentally strong. You want 11 Luke O'Niens to battle that. Can I just say a word about VAR as well? VAR gets a hammering, doesn't it? But, in that room of people that I watched the game with today, we've cheered 3 goals. The 2 that were scored and the 1 that was disallowed. And we cheered each of them as loudly. The VAR goal probably got cheered louder than the other 2 goals, believe it or not. So there you go.
Did the liner flag at all for that? I don't know if they did or not.
I'm not sure whether it actually went to VAR. I've got a feeling that they might have given it on the pitch because he blew really quickly.
Right.
And they didn't kind of wait any time to go to VAR or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I might have been wrong with that, but I'm not convinced. But then again, my head was in my hands for about 30 seconds afterwards, so I'm not quite sure.
It will have been checked. VAR back in Stockley Park will have. So Kelvin's right. Yeah. VAR will have rubber stamped it. But yeah, I wasn't sure what happened on field at the time.
Yeah, it was such a good decision. They made it twice. But yeah, with about 10 minutes to go, Andrew, we talked about timings of the substitutions, but with about 10 minutes to go, Lafayette came on for Diarra, and which was a signal that they couldn't get much minutes out of him, because I'm sure Labris would have been desperate to get him on that pitch. But then, 89th minute and, or 90th minute, whichever way you want to look at it, the composure here to come up with this move. I mean, Granit Xhaka kicks it off, knocks it into Lafayette, then Siddiqui drives forward, and Lafayette, considering that he might not have been fit to keep him sharp for those last few minutes, doesn't just rest on his laurels and goes, oh, that was a good pass that I did. He runs alongside Siddiqui on that side and then gets the ball. It all went a bit weird because he had the ball on the byline. And you talk about Hall being one of the best fullbacks or upcoming fullbacks in the country or Europe or whatever, just didn't tackle him. Just watched him with the ball on the byline. And then the Fair put it through somebody's legs to Brobbey. And Ramsdale was able to get the instinctive first save, and Brobbey followed up and scored. But to go through, to come on from the bench where Labris is clearly saying, look, you win the game for us. And they produce a move like this in the last minute of the game after a game like that. I mean, that just shows, utter guts to me.
Oh, yeah. And listen, Enzo Lafay, if you're listening, if you keep at it, son, you might become a good player. Because that was decent, that lad. Fair play to you, that was good. No, the goal had some real touches of quality in it.
Yeah.
I mean, the clock seemed to really slow down, and yeah, it all felt a little bit surreal. But yeah, it was brilliant by Lafay. He's just a superb player. Just in those few minutes he was on the pitch, he was popping up in various places. Nobody quite knew who to go with him, what to do with him. And that's what the best players do in those moments that matter. They have the class. And yeah, it was phenomenal by him. I will just say, if I may, because it was Diarra he came on for, wasn't it? Have I got that right? Yeah. Diarra took a bit of flack last week against Brighton.
Yeah.
I thought Diarra, put his hands up and put a good shift in. I mean, you could go through the whole team. Rig, everybody did phenomenally. Siddiqui was another one. But yeah, Diarra, when he went off, I did think to myself, fair play to him. He's kind of done his time now. He's apologised for last week. And to have somebody like Lafay coming on for that crucial moment, phenomenal, brilliant.
I want to bring you in on the goal, Kelvin, because you can talk about the move like we've been talking about, but Brian Brobbey, I mean, if there's one person on that pitch who deserved that moment at the end of that game, and I'm going to go back to a Bobby Saxton quote when he talked to Niall Quinn, I think it was after a game at QPR back in the day, when he got on the coach afterwards. Apparently he went to Niall Quinn, he said, there'll have been no better performance from a striker in Europe this weekend. And I tell you what, I don't think there's a better performance in Europe by a striker this weekend than Brian Brobbey on that pitch, because he was unbelievable.
Saka knew a thing or two. He would have been saying that to Brobbey at the end of this game.
Absolutely.
He never let up, did he? First half, he never let up. He was a pain, a royal pain in the defence's backside in the first half. In the second half, as I say, I thought we got players a little bit closer to him. To back up Andrew's point, I thought the midfield got involved a little bit more in the second half and got a little bit closer to him. He was fantastic, and he's built for that kind of game, isn't he? If you play to him, he's built for those kind of chances and that kind of game. I don't know if you noticed when he did you see him when he scored and he took his top off?
Yeah.
What is he? Man, he's like he's built like Arnie Schwarzenegger. He's got a neck like a blooming tree trunk. He's what an athlete. And watching the goal in slow motion as well, because he smacks the shot. The keeper does make a good save, but he's actually on his backside when he smacks the shot, and he just propels himself. It's really really fast twitch muscle that gets you into them situations. A fantastic. I mean, you could say it was a scruffy goal, but when you watch it and when you watch the detail of it, it was a fantastic bit of athleticism from him. And by the way, Enzo Lefebvre, totally agree with Andrew, but this is the boy who, in extra time at Wembley, was playing headers with Isidore up the bloody touchline when we're all whistling for full time, and he decides to have a game of bloody headers with Isidore. So he's just got that gallousness about him, hasn't he? That will see him, and you know, it's Hall that's in front of him. Probably, for me, pound for pound, probably the best fullback in the Premiership this year for me. He's a cracking player, that Hall, but Enzo stands him up. And I want a word about Rig. You know, he gave him quite a tough game in that second half. Hall never got down, whether he was told to keep him busier. Hall never got away down that wing in the second half like he had done a couple of times in the first half. He's a very, very clever fullback, Hall, and I thought we did really well to keep him busy in the second half. Yeah. What a fantastic from Enzo, though. Creates that chance, and at 9 times out of 10, I would say to you, in that position, Brobbey will do it. Brobbey he'll get his shot off. And he's just a blooming riot in the 6-yard box, isn't he?
Yeah.
Bro, I would not want to mark him, man. What a bloody riot.
Yeah, well, him taking his shirt off was a little bit different to Ross Wallace doing it quite a few years ago, wasn't it? When Roy Keane said, I wouldn't take it off if I looked like him or something like that. But I just want to mention, because I thought we were quite comfortable in those closing stages, although I didn't feel it, I have to admit. I mean, the adrenaline was pumping. I wanted the referee to blow his whistle and all that. But I just wanted to mention, just in case it does get missed in the aftermath of the excitement of the goal and the late goal and all that, there was a block by Gertruda, Andrew, late on. I mean, what a tackle and what time in this one, because, you know, you go through all of that work, and if you get that wrong, but he didn't, he was, and I thought of coming in a game like that, and, you know, he was so, but he needs a run of games, and you can tell he's got a bit of class about him, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, and he was improving in the game. He made a couple of good interceptions. There was one point where he went missing, and Gordon ended up putting it over the bar. But other than that, I thought positionally he was good. And you touched on it briefly there. The early suggestion is he's been the victim of some sort of inappropriate comment. I hope that's dealt with and the perpetrators are properly sanctioned. But if that incident has happened, fair play to him for keeping his head and continuing to perform, because, you know, just purely as a human, you shouldn't have to go to work and have people crossing the line. I know tensions are raised in derbies, but if somebody's taken it too far, he's done well to respond so professionally. It was a great block by him. I think that is the equivalent to the Kevin Ball clearance off the bar, the Alan Shearer missed penalty save off Sorensen. I think that is the equivalent for that split second of, oh man, we've blown it. But it was a great block, superb block. And just touching back on the goal there and Brobbey taking his shirt off, that's going to go down in terms of iconic Sunderland moments, isn't it? Yeah. You know, that's up there with Barini laughing at Tim Krul. It's up there with, I can't remember who it was, but we scored at that end one time recently and the players were celebrating in the corner in the background. You've just got 3 Newcastle fans with T-shirts where it's spelled SM. They've written SMB on the shirts and they're losing their loaf. Brobbey whipping his top off like that is up there in for me in terms of classic weird moments on Tyneside. That'll not be forgotten in a long time.
Yeah, very, very special moment that I don't think anyone's ever going to forget. But final words, gents, because I think we've probably talked, we could talk all night about it, but I think we've probably talked too long about it for this reaction pod. But Kelvin, just a final word from you, because look, I think off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember. I think it's something like 143 years this rivalry goes back on the pitch, and the record now stands that we've won 55, they've won 54, and there's been 50 draws. So after 143 years, we've now got the edge on them on the complete stats. But another win, and it's just again. I'm sure we all would have been snapped your hand off for a draw, but we went and got 3 points, Kelvin, and just top of the world, isn't it?
Well, bugger the stats, Chris. We've always had the edge on the Zebras.
But we're going to bask in it this week, though, Kelvin, aren't you?
No, I might. Look out, concert, here I come.
And Andrew, just on of course, wearing the same strip as we did in the playoffs in 1990. I mean, this should be it, shouldn't it? We should just wear this blue strip every season from now on in, shouldn't we?
Oh, of course, it's a done deal. If I was Hummel now, I'd be getting on the blower to David Bruce and say, we'll not bother next year, shall we not? Just bring this kit out. In terms of stats, I think that now is the longest run either team have gone in this derby without losing a league game. So it is quite, good in terms of historical. For the here and now, it's great that we've won, and it gives us a bit of life for the last few games of the season. And yeah, if you're listening to it, if my manager's listening to this, I'd like to formally put in a leave request for Monday, please, because I'm gonna enjoy this. I think nice, good night, good afternoon. Putting it mildly,
Absolutely.
Good one, Matt. I enjoyed it.
Not a bad Sunday, and we do go above them in the league. Of course, we're now on 43 points. We're on 42, or they're on 42 even. But what a fantastic day! And it just leaves me to say thank you very much, Kelvin. Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you for joining me on an absolutely fantastic Sunday afternoon. And thank you out there for everyone listening. Don't forget, we'll have loads more analysis on the Roker Report website. Just go on there. As soon as the final whistle went, everyone was going out saying, right, I'm gonna write something. I can't wait to put something down and get it onto the site about this game. So there'll be loads more analysis on there. And of course, we'll have another pod in the morning to talk about it all over again. And it's going to be a fun 3 weeks as well, because we were talking about the international break. And now we've got about 3 weeks just to talk about this game, which isn't a bad thing. So look out for all of that. But from us, it's bye for now.